Now, before we move on to look at composite volumes in more detail, we're going to do a question. Page 178, question 8, which is asking what are the volumes of the three and could you rank them in order? Which one contains the most, which one contains the least? So we've got three of the main shapes that we're going to look at. Shape A is obviously a cone. Shape B is obviously a cuboid. And shape C is a hemisphere. Now, I posted a formula sheet for you. You get the formulas in the book, but I posted a formula sheet for you. The one thing I want to point out, in every single worked example, we're going to use pi equals 3.14. So that's going to be very important, because if you use the pi button, remember your answers will be slightly higher than the ones you would expect to get. So if you are using the pi button, make sure that you're not worried when you get an answer that's slightly too big. Okay, now what do we know? We know the volume of a cone is pi r squared h divided by 3. That's the volume of a cone. Simple enough. Now, the thing we need to be aware of when we are working with a cone, of course, is we need the radius. Now, in order to mess with your head, they quite often give you the diameter. So, we've got to be aware that the radius in this case is going to be 10. So that's going to be 3.14 multiplied by 10 squared multiplied by 21 and divided by 3. And if we do that calculation, we get 2,198 cubic centimetres. Right? Nothing particularly difficult about that. Even easier, volume of a cuboid, length times breadth times height, 20 times 20 times 5.5 will give us 2,200 cubic centimetres. And lastly, the trickiest shape of all, the sphere. Right, now the sphere has that formula. That's the volume of a sphere. But we've got to be aware that that's r cubed. It's not r squared like it was before. And because it's a hemisphere, we're going to half the answer. Now, the way we do this is that we say 4 times 3.14 times, now again, the diameter is given here, so the radius is going to be 10. So that's going to be 10 cubed. And we're going to divide that by 3. And then when we get the answer, we're going to divide the whole answer by 2. So when you get this 4 over 3 bit, it just means multiply everything together and then divide the answer by 3. But we've done enough examples of that, hopefully, for it to make sense. So if we do that, we get 4186.7. And if we divide that by 2, we get 2093.3 cubic centimetres. Now, as always, will you please check, you know what I'm like, I get things wrong from time to time, will you please check that you're getting the same answers? And if you get a different answer from me, let me know. Okay, so the question says, which one held the most? So the one that held the most was the cuboid, and the one that held the least was the hemisphere. Now that's part of the question. So as always, if you don't answer the question, you don't get full marks, no matter how good your working is. Okay, so we're going to continue on. I've posted some questions for you to do, and then I'll add the next video shortly.